Now this meta has of course had its problems, and with a new season coming in about 10 days or so, it means that a new set of balance changes are going to be coming into effect, and I know a lot of people, me included, are really looking forward to these next set of balance changes. The amount of cards that are just a bit too dominant in this meta just make it a little bit frustrating to play with. In fact, nerfs have already been confirmed for the Witch, the Wall Breakers, Fisherman, and Elixir Golem. And hey, taking a more closer look at the recent Reddit post released by Seth on the Reddit, we have some more good news as well about the next season of balance changes. With these balances being officially announced next week, Drew has confirmed that there will not be a card rework in November. So hey, at least we're not going to be hit with a Wizard plus 220% damage rework, oh my god. But in all seriousness though, I do think it's a good move on Supercell's part. They do need to let the meta kind of settle in a bit after the past few months of just rework after rework after rework, and once this meta finally settles down and Supercell can kind of have a look at how the meta is going to work out, then they can continue doing those reworks on maybe those arrows, zappies, bowler, and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, nothing's completely black and white, and I liked how the Supercell team did shake up this meta. I liked how there was a change in how the overall game worked, and how many of the decks that worked before weren't as effective, and how players just had to, adjust to succeed in this meta. With that in mind, it was a little bit of an overboard change in my opinion. So today, I'm going to be going over 8 cards that I want to see balanced in the next update of Clash Royale. Now I'm sure a lot of these cards are ones that you would expect, so I'll try and throw a few unexpected ones in the mix as well. Now before we get into the list, if you could please leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified of every new video that comes out, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, go check me out on my socials, links in the description, and with that out of the way, let's get right into the list. Number 1, Elixir Golem. So of course, yeah, this guy, wow. Just look at this insanely high use rate right now, absolutely dominating grand challenges, and well, people don't have him leveled up on ladder yet, so of course he's not as popular there. Now this card, I don't think the main problem is the main Elixir Golem or the Golemites. I think it's actually the Elixir Blobs, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree. Those things just do so much damage. If those blobs get on the tower, that's a guaranteed at least 200 to 300 damage right there. And sure, after they die, they give your opponent 4 elixir, but your tower's down anyways, and you just end up having to use those extra 4 elixir to even just defend the push. So of course, with the Elixir Blobs, what I want to see is a nice and simple decrease in the hit speed of the Elixir Blobs. I think they're a little bit too fast, and if we tone that down just a little bit, that'll make things a lot more effective. Number 2, 3 Musketeers. Now, 3 Musketeers, okay, hear me out on this one. This is going to be a rather interesting change, and I'm sure it's not one that you guys will expect. So, the 3 Musketeers, obviously, one of the lowest used cards on the game. Nobody uses them. They're not that good, to be completely honest. So, they need a change, but if they are too dominant in this meta, then we've seen in the past that they become super meta warping. So, what do I want to see? I want to see them try out something very, very small. I want to see them try a 3 Musketeer deploy in a straight line. So, it'd be kind of like a line of 3 Musketeers, kind of like the Royal Recruits, but slightly more spaced in. This way, a Fireball will still be able to just barely clip all 3 Musketeers if you react fast enough, but since they're split out a little bit more, they'll be a lot less susceptible to spell value. I think this way, there's a lot more of an effect where you can't just completely destroy the 3 Musketeers right on spawn, and if you just slip your finger 1 tile or so, then you'll miss one of the Musketeers, and maybe they will actually have a bit more of a fighting chance. Number 3, Witch. Now, yeah, this one, of course, is another one that's a pretty much gimme right now. The Witch is just, oh my gosh, by far the most used card on both ladder and grand challenges. 56% usage rate. It's in over half of every single deck used in Clash Royale. So of course the Witch needs a somewhat of a major nerf. Now what I want to see with the Witch is not only a decrease in some of the skeletons spawning, as well as a decrease in some of the damage. Of course, with the Witch rework that they did last month, they reduced that splash damage and increased her damage in order to help her serve more of a role of a Musketeer. But the Witch actually does even more damage than the Musketeer, and adding on those spawn skeletons, basically everyone running Musketeer switched over to running the Witch. So what I want to see happen is decrease that Witch's damage. That way people will, have a little bit more of an incentive to actually run the Musketeer, and the purpose of running that Witch is for that one extra elixir, we get a few more of those skeletons spawning throughout the arena. Number 4. Barbarian Barrel. Now this one, I think it'll be a little more of a controversial one, but Barbarian Barrel right now is, I think, a little bit underpowered. It's honestly not seen as much, and just hasn't seen the success that it wants. So again, this is going to be a very small change, but a very, very small increase in the damage. This increase would be so small that it would be able to take off the shields of like guards or a dark prince now, but it still wouldn't be enough to one-shot a princess or a dark goblin. I think this would add a few more uses to the Barbarian Barrel to take off the shields on the guards of the dark prince or the royal recruits, while still limiting its use. That way it won't be as meta dominating as before. Number 5. Wall Breakers. Now the Wall Breakers are another one of those cards that just like, wow. I mean, it's super duper good for just 2 elixir. So this might be a little bit controversial, but what I want to see is for them to not be as fast. This way only one of the Wall Breakers will connect to the tower. Now, of course, this will be a controversial one for sure, but in my mind, when they were at 3 elixir, if both connected to the tower, that's pretty justified for a 3 elixir commitment. But if a 2 elixir commitment will deal 800 damage to the tower if left ignored, that just doesn't seem balanced in my eyes. If only one connected to the tower, then for just a simple 2 elixir commitment, you're basically threatening 400 damage. So they still have to respond no matter what, but it just won't be as threatening as before. I just feel like the Wall Breakers are a little bit too aggressive in this current state. Number 6. Fire Spirits. Now, Fire Spirits are a card that I've been advocating for a buff balance after balance after balance, and my position stays the same. I think if they buff Fire Spirits, this could also justify a nerf to the Furnace. So, what do I want to see with the Fire Spirits this time? Well, I think we should see an increase in the splash radius of the Fire Spirits. Right now, sure they do splash, but it's spotty at best. They sometimes will miss some critical units and lead to a ton of damage dealt to your tower. So I think if you just increase the splash radius of the Fire Spirits, they're going to be a lot more versatile and maybe seen in a few more decks, while also justifying a nerf to the Furnace. Number 7. Executioner. The Executioner is a card that, of course, has also been super dominating in this meta. With all the witches and stuff running around, Executioner NATO is just completely destroying. And, if the Executioner even connects on that tower for even one swing, you're going to be like 500 damage down in just a few seconds. So I think with the Executioner, I want to see a range increase, a slight range increase with a slight damage decrease. The Executioner rework about 2 months ago decreased that range for an increase in damage, and I think we want to kind of, offset that balance a little bit back to where it was. This will make him much more versatile, but he also won't be as deadly as before. Number 8. Fisherman. Now the Fisherman is another card that has just been super duper dominating in this meta. With the amount of huge single units such as, the Night Witch, the Elixir Golem, and stuff like that, the Fisherman does such a great job at grabbing onto units and pulling them all the way across the arena. So what I want to see with the Fisherman is I want to see a slight decrease in the range of the hook. Not sure by how much, but I think he needs a slight decrease in the range on that hook. The hook is what really makes the Fisherman special, and I think a slight decrease in the range of the hook will make him no longer pull units to the opposite lane, but he can still activate King's Tower pretty effectively, and I'm sure he'll still find many uses even with a slightly decreased range on that hook. So there we go, the 8 cards that I want to see balanced in the next update of Clash Royale. Let me know what you think of them in the comments below, and if there's any that you think I missed or any that you disagree with, feel free to start up a conversation in the comments down below. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say, but unfortunately guys, that's all I've got time for in today's episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below as well as a subscription to my channel, and as always, this is Legendaray, and I'm signing off. See you guys next time.